Welcome to the definitive awards season prediction show on YouTube. If you're looking for expert-level opinions and niche references to famous people, well, you're in the right place. I'm Louis Virtel.
And I'm Ira Madison III. And today, we're drafting our season's picks like they do in football. I've never played this game before.
I'm going to say, football doesn't ring a bell.
Taylor Swift. She's dating one of them, right?
Aha, right.
Anyway, we're doing it with actors and actresses because our favorite season is award season.
Oh, Schitt's Creek. See, the references are flying fast and furious.
Okay, here's how it works. Player one goes first and picks the person or project that you think is most likely to win the category. Player two picks in that same category, but they cannot choose the same person. You may not love who you've had to choose, but that's the way it is.
Moving on. Let's get it started with this year's Golden Globes. I am going to flip this coin to let it all begin. Ira, heads or tails?
Tails.
Indeed. So you get the first pick on Best Actress Drama, where we have Lily Gladstone, Carey Mulligan, Sandra Hüller, Annette Bening, Greta Lee, and Kaylee Spaney.
You know, this is a tough one because I think a lot of people are saying Sandra Hüller is, the one who deserves it all. She's that bitch,
right,
as they say. But Lily Gladstone is having her moment, and I think I'm going to pick her.
I think that's probably the wisest decision. It's also not smart, as you just said, to ever rule out the foreign nominee when it comes to the Golden Globes, like Isabelle Huppert won for Elle a number of years ago. So Sandra Hüller, I think, is a qualified guess. For me, it's between Sandra Hüller, who I think is the best performance of all of these, and Carey Mulligan, who I believe is also going to be having a moment because people love her in Maestro. I'm doubting myself, but I'm going to say Carey Mulligan is my choice. Okay, next up, it's Best Actor in a Drama. We've got Bradley Cooper, Cillian Murphy, Leonardo DiCaprio, Coleman Domingo, Andrew Scott. Of these, I think I have to go Cillian Murphy. He's been nominated every single time. He only looks a little bit like Matt Rife, and I feel like I'm really rooting for him to have an awards moment. Like, this is the first time he's ever really been a part of the conversation.
I don't trust the awards to give it to a Negro.
Okay.
So, I'm not going to pick Leonardo DiCaprio.
All right.
My brother. I'm going to go with Bradley Cooper, actually, for Maestro.
I think that makes sense. This is the one movie I haven't seen yet of these, and I'm curious what he brings.
It's a very Globes choice.
Yeah, right. Very much, a star power-oriented choice, ultimately. It's Best Actress in a Comedy or a Musical. Ira, who do we have?
We have Fantasia Barrino for The Color Purple, Jennifer Lawrence, No Hard Feelings, Natalie Portman, May December, Alma Poisty, Fallen Leaves, Margot Robbie, Barbie, Emma Stone, Poor Things. Now,
lots of fun stuff.
I'm going to go with Emma Stone. She's my favorite performance of the year, and I think that she is the front runner.
Yes, I'm looking at all of these. It almost feels like they would have to make a radical choice in order for Emma Stone to lose this, and I'm going to say Margot Robbie. I think she's also the best thing about the Barbie movie. I saw on some IndieWire list that Ryan Gosling was listed among the 10 best performances of the year right after it was Emma, Lily Gladstone, Sandra Hüller, Charles Melton, and then Ryan Gosling. Stop gagging over this performance. It was adequate. He was hot. The lines were pretty funny. It's not one of the 10 best performances of the year. Anyway, that's something I had to get off my chest. I'm going to say Margot, though of these, I think Emma's my personal favorite performance.
The Louis Virtel hits against Barbie just won't stop coming.
I know. It's so much fun for everybody. Please get out of my DMs. I'm a fragile man. Okay, next up.
Best Actor Comedy or Musical. Louis.
I get first choice. We've got Nicolas Cage, Timothée Chalamet, Matt Damon, because the movie Air does exist. I want to say that out loud. It does exist. It has feelings, and they should be acknowledged. Paul Giamatti, Joaquin Phoenix, and Joaquin Phoenix in Beau is Afraid. Insane nomination. Not that he is bad or anything. It's just nothing about that movie sits right with me. And Jeffrey Wright in American Fiction. For these, I'm going to go Paul Giamatti. I think he just is generally under-rewarded. Even people in Middle America know Paul Giamatti should have 6 Oscar nominations, and for some reason he only has 1. So I think we're going to Gary Oldman fast-track him at some point to a win, and maybe it'll begin here at the Golden Globes. So I'm going to say Paul Giamatti.
I'm hoping for something real wacky because it is the Globes, and I'm going to pick Timothée Chalamet.
You know what? People love this performance, I guess. I'm shocked. The trailers leading up to this moment seemed to be flop city, back up and forth, and now it sounds like people are saying it's like Paddington 3 ultimately, which means it's going to be a beloved movie by critics and audiences alike. So I don't think that's a terrible choice. Ira, you get the first pick here on Best Supporting Actor. We've got Willem Dafoe, Robert De Niro, Robert Downey Jr., Ryan Gosling, Charles Melton, and Mark Ruffalo.
You know, Charles Melton is who I want to win. Obviously, he's my favorite male performance of the year. But man, this is hard because it's a feeling like
got some legends here.
May give it to someone I know, you know? But if we're talking wacky choices, the Globes do like to give awards to sort of a first-time nominee, thinking Aaron Taylor Johnson for Nocturnal Animals. Obviously, TV nominations as well. They've done that before. So I'm going to go with Charles Melton.
I think that's the best choice. I'm picking between people who are not going to win here, but I think Mark Ruffalo in Poor Things is the runner-up. I think people are really impressed by his broad comic turn here. It seems like it would be a dynamite role from the 1930s, but Mark Ruffalo, who's a pretty consummately modern-seeming actor, taps into this performance with surprising elan and gusto. So I think people would like him to win, too. By the way, Robert Downey Jr. was great in Oppenheimer. Probably my favorite performance from that movie, actually. Next up, I get the first choice from Best Supporting Actress. We get Emily Blunt, Danielle Brooks, Jodie Foster, Julianne Moore, Rosamund Pike, and Da'Vine Joy Randolph. In terms of who's going to win, man, it actually is a pretty tough toss-up for me between Da'Vine Joy Randolph and Danielle Brooks, who I think Ira and I both think is the best of these. But if we're looking at precedent, Da'Vine has not missed yet, basically, so I'm going to go with her in The Holdovers.
And then I'm going to pick Danielle Brooks for Color Purple.
That, I think, is a really interesting matchup. I wonder how that will shake out.
Black women.
Okay, let's celebrate that, quoth Oprah. And Ira, you get the first choice here in Best Picture Drama.
Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Past Lives, The Zone of Interest, Anatomy of a Fall. Press 6 for Anatomy of a Fall. I am going to pick... I'm going to go with Maestro.
Interesting.
I just think that this groundswell for Maestro is going to be popping up.
Yeah.
You know? And also, I haven't seen Zone of Interest or Anatomy of a Fall yet.
I also have not seen Zone of Interest. Cannot wait to see it. I am going to go with Oppenheimer. I think they're ultimately going to want to celebrate the huge prestige movie that had the huge box office. It also feels like enthusiasm is waning somewhat for Killers of the Flower Moon as a movie, even though people are still really jazzed about Lily. Past Lives, also extremely enjoyable. A bit too unassuming a film, I think, to win a category like this. Anatomy of a Fall, also a fabulous film, which we've said 10,000 times. But I'm going Oppenheimer.
Best Picture Comedy. Lewis, you get the first pick.
All right, we've got Barbie, we've got Poor Things, American Fiction, The Holdovers, May, December, Air. Most of these movies have something good going for them. Air, you are not part of this conversation. The other 5 is what I'm talking about. Wow. I mean, it would be pretty iconic if both Barbie and Oppenheimer won. I feel like they're going to go with Poor Things ultimately because I think the Globes like Yorgos.
I'm going to go with Barbie then.
Yeah. And finally, Best Director, Ira, we're working with Bradley Cooper, Greta Gerwig, Yorgos Lanthimos, Christopher Nolan, Martin Scorsese, and Celine Song.
You know what? I think Celine could get this one.
Interesting. It is a beautifully directed film, certainly.
I'm going to go with Celine Song, Past Lives.
I would call it a sweeping film. Between these people, I am going to go with Christopher Nolan, somebody who also does not have a lot of awards, even though he's one of the most prominent people in his profession. And you know a Christopher Nolan the minute you start looking at it. And I feel like people want to award an auteur who also does boffo box office. Boffo, a word that should be brought back. And finally, I get to start on Best Screenplay. It's between Barbie, Poor Things, Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon, Past Lives, and Anatomy of a Fall. I am surprised not to see May December here. It feels like there's a lot of a groundswell for Sammy Birch. I think I am going to go Oppenheimer. I think people are really invested in the character drama of him. And also, there's lots of talking scenes in that movie, so it has kind of like a classic like 50s courtroom vibe by the end, too. And I think people like to award a screenplay nominee when they can picture the script. And that's, I think, something that happens here.
I still think she won one of these. If not director, then screenplay. So I'm going to go with Celine's song Past Lives.
Wow. This is a very gutsy choice on your part, but also noble.
Call me Barnes. Because one thing I am is noble.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Okay, so those are our predictions. We'll see how they shake out in January.
Are you Team Ira or are you, not trying to win?
Also, this is just a good question anyway. Are you on Team Ira or Team Lewis? I mean, ultimately, there's a schism, and you fall on either side of it. Just a reminder, we'll be doing these for all the major award shows coming up, including the Emmys, the Grammys, and the Oscars.
Peace up. Golden Globes down.